Hi, I'm David Michael, and I interviewed Asaruddin Walajahi, but I just call him Oz for short, so that's what I'm going to call him for this video.
My name's Marley, and I interviewed my friend Sydney, and our cultural difference is introvert versus extrovert.
I'm Sam, and I interviewed a guy named Olvi who is from Azerbaijan.
I'm Emily, and I interviewed a girl named Emily in my sorority who is Jewish, and I'm Christian, so that was our cultural difference.
My cultural difference was that he's from Saudi Arabia. I forgot to say that, and I'm from America.
So, one of the strategies that a lot of us had in common that our people used was repetition, and they all kind of used it in like a different way. So, my guy Olvi used repetition to constantly memorize things in chemistry, and the way he would do it is just keep going back over what he did and reworking problems and whatnot. So, yeah.
Yeah, I found that when I was talking to Oz about when he was in high school and earlier on, he would go to school basically for most of the day, and then when he'd come home, he would just do homework. So it was school all day, school, 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 school. He just got used to it, and yeah, that's how he used repetition.
My friend who I interviewed, she liked to review her materials a lot, and she really strived to do well in school, so she would review her materials and keep doing that, and she used other strategies too.
Yeah, my girl Emily also would as soon as she's done with the class, the thing she likes to do is go over it right away so it's fresh in her head, and she does that after every single class. So for her exams, it's a lot easier. So that's kind of a repetitive strategy she uses after every class, just kind of going over things.
And then since mine was introvert versus extrovert, we sort of talked about the concept how my person likes group projects and studies well with other people, and Emily's friend Emily also studies well with people.
Yeah, she there's a place called Hillel, which is like a Jewish center, I guess, and she loves going there and just getting things done with everybody because when everybody's studying, she feels like she's getting a lot of work done because she's doing the same thing as everybody else. So that's what she likes to
And my Oz, he likes to go to the engineering building every day to do his homework. So he will, when he's not at class, he will be at the engineering building working from early in the morning until probably around 4 or 5. So he's basically doing school all day, and then at night he can just do whatever he wants. So he's got a good routine compared to what I am used to.
My guy Olvi actually went from being introverted to being extroverted because back where he comes from, he told me he used to always work by himself, would always study alone. And then when he came here, he kind of was struggling with his classes. So he tried to join different study groups, and that was kind of a strategy that he used was working with other people. So, yeah.
And as far as metacognition goes, Oz, he always had his parents breathing down his neck, so he always felt the need to keep up on his schoolwork to make sure to please his parents. And now that he's here, he's always checking his grades, making sure he's doing everything. His goal is to not pass, but to get a 4 point or better, which is a different than what I'm used to. A lot of people just is like, oh, I'm just glad I passed, but he'd be very, very upset if he didn't because of his parents and his prior schooling.
Yeah, something that all of our people had in common was they were self motivated and they did want to do well, but the way they went about it was differently. Like Oz would check his grades constantly, and my friend Sydney, she would make sure she's doing well and asking questions if she's confused, but maybe she wasn't as particular, consistent about it, but she still was aware whether she was doing good or bad.
And that kind of plays into how our people attributed their success, but none of them really said it was, oh, I'm doing well because of luck. They all work really hard, and that's what they attributed their success to. So
Mm-hmm. So what should we talk about? New thoughts. Well, I kind of knew this already, but this really nailed it in my brain that I was lazy. I thought I was lazy compared to American students, but after interviewing Oz, he told me his homework routine and how many class hours he was taking compared to me. He was working a lot harder than I was, and I wasn't used to that kind of workload just because of
Still.
because in my high school I didn't have to work that hard to get good grades, so I've never really had to work hard until college, and yeah, I've just really realized how much lazier I am.
I agree with that, and ours might be because we both have people from a different culture, but Olvi also works very hard at everything he does, and it's like we as Americans kind of tend to just like sit back and say like, oh, I'll do it later, and we love to procrastinate. So that was kind of like a cultural difference that we discovered from that. So
Yeah, and even just talking with like them, because my person is from America too, and she's like same like stereotypes and stuff, and like even though we're culturally different by like introvert versus extrovert, we're still like she still falls in the type like not as dedicated American who puts things off and forgets compared to their people.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with the same with my person too. We're both white, like middle class, I guess, people that grew up the same way, but we just practice different religions. So we didn't necessarily like learn in different schools different ways, but like the way we went about learning with strategies and things like that, we definitely have a few differences, but not as much as they do culturally.
Mm-hmm.
and then our implications for applying this to like our teaching is we realize that everybody learns differently. So when we go to become teachers, for us that are becoming teachers, we want to kind of be able to have different like ways of learning. So like if someone is more of a visual learner, incorporate pictures. So like every lesson you do, there's not just one way of like teaching the material.
Yeah, like students like us, we would prefer maybe more kinesthetic ways, and like maybe like Oz or her friend, they would prefer like more repetition and like writing out the vocabulary words and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I've figured out that Oz, he likes to just get the instructions for an assignment and just do it by himself, knock it out. He doesn't prefer working in a group. He feels that other people he feels that a group won't improve his grade. He'll have the best grades if he's working by himself, which kind of works in with her introvert extrovert stuff.
So being aware of every student in the classroom is very important, and noticing how they would work and succeed best as a student.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice.